Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel for another LEGO build. Today is going to be a very exciting one as we are building one of the largest LEGO sets not only in my entire collection but the second tallest in my entire LEGO city. That is the Motorized Lighthouse. So this is actually my birthday present to myself this year. I actually literally just got home from the LEGO store, and ironically enough we ate at Cheesecake Factory afterwards, which I love the Cheesecake Factory. So does Bridget. And we realized once we drove about 35 to 48 minutes home, I looked in the back seat and I said, oh, the LEGO bag isn't there, is it? So we drove all the way back. They found it thankfully under the table. So, you know, it was a long 2.5 hours to do everything there, but you know what, at least it's home. But yeah, so I was really toying with the ideas of what I wanted to do for my birthday build, and I wanted it to be a special occasion. And I said for a while that I wanted to work on my windowsill in the background, which is going to be like a little harbor, beach, waterfront, whatever. And my main idea is all the way in the back right hand corner, I wanted it to be like this giant lighthouse. It's going to be in the backdrop of every video I do. It's an important cornerstone. And you know, as much as I wanted to do like Assembly Square, Rivendell, Diagon Alley, the new Gringotts just came out. There's a lot of stuff I was toying with, but I figured, you know what, I want to set a goal. I want to finish my windowsill project, and I think that's going to be a good start. Plus, you know, fun fact, I fish 2 to 3, 4 times a week sometimes, so I love being on the water, fishing from the shore, kayaking, but whatever I can do. I enjoy it, absolutely. I love being on the water, being around water, fishing, whatever. And lighthouses, of course, have always served a special place in my life. I love those things. We visited as many as we could throughout my childhood. Every time we get a chance to go see or pass by a lighthouse, I take as many pictures as I can. So always love lighthouses, and this one is an absolute no exception. It looks amazing. Now, if you're not familiar with this set, it does retail for $300, comes in just under 2,100 pieces. So the price per, yeah, like you might be wondering, yes, it's a little low on pieces for the price, depending on how you look at it. However, it is motorized. It quite literally does have a motor inside of it, does light up the actual fireplace inside, and the actual top of the lighthouse rotates around. It's an awesome set. Comes in about, I believe, 22 inches long, comes in on a full base plate, so this is actually like a modular building, and it's going to look great in that back corner. I always forget, I said at the start of these when I was actually like talking to you guys face to face, I wanted to do like special shirts and like have them mean some. This is and I always forget, you know, every time I do one I'm like, oh cool, I wore a shirt that matched, and I forgot to talk about it aside from the Packers one last time. So I decided to wear my Jaws shirt. It's pretty fitting. It's on the ocean, right? This is actually from Martha's Vineyard, and if you're not aware, that is actually one of the locations that they shot Jaws. This is probably 3 or 4 years ago. Did Nantucket, Martha's Vineyard, all that stuff. So it's a pretty cool trip up there. If you ever get a chance, definitely go, especially Nantucket. It's beautiful, but completely sidetrack. I figured, you know what? Yeah, this is going to be a pretty good birthday build, and I'm really excited to do so. So feel free to stick out the rest of the video. Like, comment, and subscribe if you can. Channel's been doing pretty solid lately, and I'm just looking forward to really starting to build a lot more here and there. I have tons and tons of sets to the left of me right now. I've got more in the mail ready to go. I'm really pushing a lot of Harry Potter right now as well, so that'll be pretty cool. But without further ado, guys, I'll see you to the end of the build, everybody. Alright everybody, so here's the final build. You will notice a couple things that changed in the room during the actual build. So right over here I did build a custom platform for the entire city. It adds room for an entire row of base plates, so that is really exciting. I'm trying to decide after this what I want to build, because it's coming up in October. As of shooting this, it's about midway through September, and I'm not 100% sure. I kind of want to do like a corner garage with a grand emporium, one of the bigger modular buildings, but at the same time, Assembly Square is retiring at the end of this year, and then the haunted house is on my October list of sets to get, so I am trying to work through some of the retiring items just before they go up in price, because modular buildings are just an absolute pain to try and get for the most part. Outside of that, I was also thinking Sanctum Sanctorum, but it's just a tough choice. As of now, I'm kind of leaning Assembly Square, but I'm really not sure. But yeah, so I did customize all of that. That is part one. I obviously still want to add another layer to the top of it, but this at least buys me some space, and a lot of planning that went into that, which is definitely pretty nice. Easy build in terms of the actual platform itself. As for the lighthouse, this thing is fantastic. However, I do have one problem. It doesn't rotate. I don't know if I missed the little joint in between like the actual Technic pieces in here, like one of those little connector joints. I'm not 100% sure, but when I turn it on, let me try and flick this. It's loud. It doesn't rotate inside. The fireplace kind of lights up, but that's it. And yes, it's very hard to see because it's in a bright room. I have no idea. I quite literally peeled all of this off. It's incredibly hard to actually get back on without damaging it. For at least like the two non-modular sides, it is really tough. So yes, slight issue. I'm going to try and figure it out off camera, just because it might involve me taking apart a lot of this, and I'm not going to put you all through that. So just be aware, if I don't show off a lot of the lighting, there is some sort of issue with it. I don't know, maybe if it's the motor not turning. If one of you guys noticed something during the build, please let me know. Just say, hey, you missed this piece. Maybe that'll help me out with actually doing it off to the side. So we'll get started on the actual review. I did just want to point a couple things out. Here we do have the little rowboat that goes in and out, and of course you do have a small anchor and a bucket in case you actually wanted to tie the ship up along the dock or anything like that. Really cool little piece. Has Lita or Leda on the back of it as well. Pretty cool. Nice little sticker element there. And then you do have, of course, the two lighthouse keepers. I love the dark green with the multicolored leg print. Has a compass as well, really nice turncoat. As a really cool blouse underneath, like a little sweater as well. Nice stripe design, great minifigure overall. Definitely a welcome addition to the beachfront. And then, of course, we do have the I don't actually, would he just be lighthouse keeper? I don't know if they have, like, they're known as captain or anything like that. I'm actually not sure. And a little gray cat, looks just like Arthur, so that's a nice addition here. He, of course, does have a spotting glass or looking glass, depending on where you're from. And then he does have a little stopwatch in there. Kind of makes me want to watch Full Metal Alchemist, I'm not going to lie. But overall, pretty nice print here as well. Another really cool addition to the crew. As for the build itself, excuse me. As for the build itself, it's excellent. I'm very, very happy with it. It's a beautiful, beautiful piece. It definitely is going to stand out no matter where I put this here. Once I'm done with the actual review, I'm going to put it back where I think it's going to go in the actual city. If it changes, if the location moves or anything like that on the windowsill, trust me, you're going to see it. It's in the backdrop of every video. Of course, the bottom piece, this actually feels almost like an Ninjago set or something like that, like one of the big city pieces, because you have a huge platform just to hold this guy up, which is really, really excellent. You have some great rock work going around the outside. Of course, you do have an older rusty anchor with some seaweed or kelp growing off of it. You have a small barrel, which I did drop during the review. I added it onto the side. You have a broken railing here, a fish inside the barrel, and of course the seagull. The seagull does not sit well. It is one of those like rubberized pieces. You can see it actually does bend. Really cool looking, great addition. I'm a big fan of seagulls and birds overall, so it's cool and cute addition to the set, but it's a pain to actually get it to sit anywhere, so just be careful with that, because it is a bit easy to knock off. Of course, you do have this bit of a treacherous staircase here. Really nice use of a couple different building techniques, which is really nice. You have some of the top being tiled off, and of course, plenty of actual grooves, so you can have people or animals or whatever you want actually coming up and down. I might add like an iguana or something to the side of here, maybe a little crab on the actual sand, something like that once it's a little bit done. And then here's the actual finished piece of the railing. This is the broken half, and of course you can see what it would actually look like here. On the side, you do have an opening to a cave. There's a treasure chest, a bat, and some other smaller details in here. The chest moves back and forth. To turn on the motor, which is not working for me very well in this set, you just flick this little switch here and put it right back up. This is kept open at all times, so it's going to be pretty easy to access here. And then of course you do have a small treasure chest inside with some jewels. Nothing too incredibly fancy in there. It latches to a little piece all the way in the back, which is a little bit of a pain if you unhook it, but you'll get there. For the actual back piece, this is going to be mainly a trunk rock, and of course a panel that actually hides the motor in case you actually have to get the batteries out or anything like that. It does take, I believe it was 6 AA's, which a little expensive to actually do in 2023. I just put in some spare ones that I had. I definitely want to get rechargeable ones for this and the train when I put it up, just to replace everything. I feel like that'll be my best bet. And then off to the side, some of these rocks really just don't want to stay on. And then of course off to the side you just have some smaller details. I believe this is also kind of supposed to be a seagull's nest, so I might actually move him there. Yeah, that actually looks solid. I believe the white is a nice symbol for either an egg or some poop. For the actual lighthouse itself, again, this stands about 2 feet tall, so it is the second tallest building in my entire city. I think it's something like 22 or 23 inches. Just behind the Daily Bugle, of course, which is about a foot above this, but in layman's terms, I mean, it's second place. For the actual main structures, you do have the Aurora Point on the outside here and a small little lighthouse, or I should say the actual home to the lighthouse here. The structure here is pretty cool. I really do like the bright red with the dark gray and the white. Of course, you do have a little lantern here, but overall, a really interesting building structure in here. I definitely do like this placement, of course. And then for the actual inside, I am going to position this as the best I can without absolutely just shattering my hopes and dreams here, because it's happened before. And then, of course, you can see the inside. The door, of course, opens up from the front. You have a pretty cool door handle there. It's like a little spike. You do have a small kitchen area, some small newsprint inside, a pot and some pan set. You have a really cool mosaic tile on that mattress, a little lantern, or a lamp, I should say, for this piece, since it's a little bit more vintage feeling. You have a bottle, an empty bottle, of course, with some cheese, it looks like, next to it, and a fish hanging from the top. Neon green fish. Not exactly sure what that would be, but plenty of fish in the ocean. You can use your imagination. Maybe it's a mahi-mahi. Alright, we can put that back on. This just locks on like any other modular building, so very simple if you want to take that on or off. For the actual lighthouse itself, you do have the actual operating structure here. This piece is really cool. It is a bit of a pain until you realize, and I didn't at first because I was too excited to try and finish it, you can actually lock these little pieces into the 1x1 and 1x2 holes on the top of this, so it locks in pretty solid to the top and the bottom. Of course, you do have a railing. The railing it looks a little bit off, like it kind of leans in some spots. I'm not a big fan of it. I feel like if they would have just done one extra piece to kind of like break up that tension a little bit, it probably would have looked a little bit nicer, but here we are. That is always something I can change if it bothers me, and to be honest, I'm going to forget the minute I'm done with this review. If you're ever interested in checking out more of the actual lighthouse inside, the panels do in fact open up. You don't get a ton of scenery from this side, just because everything is kind of really well bricked in. Don't take the top one off. I'm not actually sure if you can, because this kind of latches over it, and I'm not willing to just demolish this just to see at the present course of time. But you can see at least some of these smaller details from the inside and the ladder that's going up the actual front back. Again, you can peel these off as well. They come off in one big strip, but there's nothing to really see in there aside from some moving parts. And then, of course, from the back, you do see a little bit more of everything going on here. So they do come off nice and easy. I would recommend sitting them just like this in case you want to not get them mixed up for obvious reasons. You have a small fireman's axe and a little doorway that actually goes into his little cabin or house. You can see some of the wires that are completely hidden from the front side of the front side of the build, but they are traced right along here, hidden in some plants and some foliage, and right behind this little house here. And then, of course, this wire is draped down, again, pretty decently hidden. You're not going to see it from the front, but they are obviously hidden the best that they can. And you do have ladders that go up every single step. You've got a couple pictures and portraits of the lighthouse keepers themselves. Again, this ladder right here leads right up to the top. There's an actual opening, which is pretty cool. And then some tools off to the side. So yeah, in terms of the actual value for the set, if you're a big fan of lighthouses, if you're doing something in terms of like an oceanfront display, I think this is absolutely necessary. And it's incredibly unique. At the end of the day, yes, you can add a ton of... Yeah, that seagull just falls constantly. At the end of the day, you can add a bunch of really cool buildings to your city, but there are very, very few lighthouses. I have a small like Crater 3-in-1 behind this, but I mean, it doesn't really stand out. It's good for smaller city displays, but if you're building a full-scale city, you're doing modular buildings, this is definitely a necessity in my opinion. This is not on the list of retiring for 2023, so you do have some time. Again, if you're after any of the modular buildings retiring this year, like the police station, the Assembly Square, I mean, the Coliseum's retiring, not exactly going to be modern. It's not going to be a modular building, but that's definitely on the list, and is the bookshop as well. And then they did just announce for $300, there's going to be another modular building on January 1st of 2024. Very exciting. No leaks, no nothing. There's a lot of guesses. I know a lot of people are asking for a hospital, which would be pretty cool. I saw people asking for a prison, and there's no way that's going to happen. But keep on dreaming, guys. And then somebody I know said like a post office they would have liked to have seen. I'm going to be interested to actually see what it is. I think hospital or a school or like a university of some kind are the obvious two, because at $300, this is replacing the Assembly Square. At that price range, the Assembly Square is a base plate and a half, and it's 3 buildings, so this is either something very big for the piece count and the actual price, or they're doing another similar Assembly Square where it's 3 buildings to take up just like it throws off the actual theme a little bit, and like the actual height of the buildings, which is what you want to see. But yeah, so that's an actual wrap on this guy's here. Great choice for my birthday Lego. I'm very happy with this purchase. I'm going to try and get the light working in the background. But yeah, thank you guys so much for all the support. Feel free to check out any of the video games or Legos or anything like that I've been working on. Right now, Starfield is obviously going to be my biggest project. A lot of Spider-Man outside of here. And of course, I'm preparing for the brand new Spider-Man in a few weeks as well. And I'm also playing through Mortal Kombat 1 currently. So a lot of new games, a lot of new Legos, classic video games still coming your way. So feel free to like, comment, subscribe, check out the rest of my work, and I'll see you at the end. And I'll see you for the next build, folks. Bye-bye, everybody.